Donald Trump has announced so-called reciprocal tariffs this morning, meaning the US will charge other countries the same as what other countries charge the US when it comes to imports. As Cameron Redden explained a short time ago, and we are still working to get to the bottom of the detail here, it's separate from the steel and aluminium negotiations that are still underway, in which we are hoping for a carve-out. Well, joining us live now, Shadow Foreign Minister David Coleman. David, thanks for your time this morning. So either way here, we don't charge the US tariffs as per our free trade agreement. So are you pleased about this for our exporters this morning, these reciprocal tariffs?
Look, we're not a nation that's supportive of tariffs in general, Peter. We're a trading nation. We benefit immensely from being able to sell our tremendous goods and services overseas. So we want to see tariffs completely minimised. Importantly, the government needs to ensure we're not caught up in these aluminium and steel tariffs. Our coalition government achieved that back in 2018. Very similar circumstances apply here, and the government needs to ensure that we're not caught up in those tariffs because they would be very damaging to our economy.
Right, but as for the reciprocal tariffs, does that, as you understand it, does that mean we get a pass? If we're not charging them tariffs, that means we won't get any. So that'd be good news for our exporters, right? You'd be pleased about that.
Well, that news has just come through now, Peter, and I would just simply say that we are not a nation that advocates for tariffs generally. We obviously enjoy a free trade agreement with the United States, and we're not seeking to impose tariffs, nor do we seek for tariffs to be imposed upon us. And it's particularly important that the aluminium and steel tariffs don't catch Australia.
But it must be. But you must be clear. I mean, I understand you're still going through the detail, as we are too. But it sounds like it's good news for us.
Well, look, Peter, I'd obviously need to properly analyse the details. Just come through literally in recent moments. But anything that's about minimising tariffs is positive. We as a nation are not about imposing trade barriers. And the key issue for Australia right now is making sure that the government's successful in keeping these aluminium and steel tariffs off us. Yeah,
so I'm reminded by the Prime Minister saying the other day that they were going to look at the wording when it comes to tariffs and the fact that Australia quite possibly could get a carve-out here. So when you've got the wording today suggesting reciprocal tariffs, might that be a good sign of what's to come regarding steel and aluminium?
Well, it frankly should be straightforward on steel and aluminium. We, as a nation, have a trade deficit with the United States. They have a trade surplus with us. We are investing billions of dollars into United States defence infrastructure through the AUKUS deal. Yeah. We have one of the most strategic relationships with the United States on earth. So the facts are all there to be marshalled by the government. We marshalled them. We did it. They need to do it. We want them to succeed. That's in our national interests. And let's hope they get it done.
David, let's get to China overnight, which has laid the blame on Canberra for a mid-air stoush involving our military planes in which flares were fired in our direction. China says we were in their space. Your thoughts on this, sir?
Deeply disturbing, Peter. This isn't the first time that we've seen one of these incidents occur. We saw the sonar attack on the Navy divers. We've seen chaff and flares sent towards Australian aircraft in the past by the PLA. So it is very concerning. It's a serious incident within 30 metres of Australian personnel, so very serious.
But as for China overnight saying it's our fault, I mean, is that a surprise? Are you alarmed at their language when that's their version of events?
Well, we patrol international waters as we should. That's what we were doing here. We respect the rule of law and the international law of the sea. And there's obviously no justification whatsoever for this behaviour. And what's particularly concerning also here from an Australian perspective is that our government didn't release this information for more than 2 days. It should have done that. Richard Marles has done a pre-recorded interview to air late on Thursday. Rather than this issue being briefed to the opposition, rather than there being parliamentary scrutiny on this serious incident as there should have been. And I think that's just characteristic of this weak government. The wheels are falling off.
Right.
They don't
Isn't
want
it China's
scrutiny.
fault?
They don't want parliamentary.
They fired flares at us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, absolutely, Peter. But it's also incumbent on the Australian government to be transparent with the Australian people, to not hide from parliamentary scrutiny. And that's what they did here, because they had the information for 2 days and they held it back.
I've got to leave it there. David Coleman, thanks for your time.